The iPad Pro is getting updated. So how much does it actually cost if we buy the cheapest version of it? So Apple just yesterday announced their latest version of the iPads. We got brand new iPad Pro, we got brand new iPad Air. So let's go through and let's kit out an iPad the way that I would use an iPad. And we're actually going to buy the iPad that we're going to talk about here on the channel today. Let's get into it. So first off, iPad Pro, thin possible. That's just enough of a cheesy pun that I really like it. So the new iPad Pro comes in two separate versions, just like we've seen before. Now, when it comes to like actual usability, like actual features, we'll talk about them today. But bottom line of the video up front, it seems like an iteration on what we've seen previously from iPads since what, like 2018? 2018 was the first time like the cool guy iPad Pro came out. Big things they talked about during the release was how thin it is, thin possible, right? They compared this to being thinner than an iPad Nano. Now, I don't know if you remember the iPad Nano, because you're not as old as me. We'll have to see how this shakes out. But that's a pretty shockingly small tablet to check out. 5.1 millimeters. With all of the power that will be in here that we'll talk about here in a second, we're gonna have to see how, and I know they said thermal management shouldn't be an issue, but I'm very curious to see how, when you're doing power tasks, how such a thin, light tablet holds up to that. Also says we have the world's most advanced display, which I'm going to give Apple the benefit of the doubt here. The iPad Pros have always had fantastic displays, generally better displays than the MacBooks at the same time. So obviously we're buying it today, so we don't have it in hand yet, but I'm probably going to agree with them on that. 1000 nits of full screen brightness, 1600 nits of peak brightness, 2 million to 1 contrast ratio, ProMotion of 10 to 120 hertz refresh rate, True Tone. This is sounding an awful lot like what we have seen in the latest version of the MacBook Pro screens, which is excellent. Nano texture display, bunch of gee whiz words that don't mean much to me, but the big headlining feature, the thing that they were trying to surprise everybody with, was they haven't released an iPad Pro or any iPads in a couple of years now. So they're going from M2, and we all kind of assumed they'd go to M3, which is what all their computers are on, but now they're going straight to M4, which is supposed to be up to 1.5 times faster, according to their thing right here, faster than the M2, which is, it's not nothing, but that is a pretty good bump in power. Now, the real problem I think we're going to run into is rocket chip. I like that too. There's a lot of good puns on this website, which I really, really appreciate. They've got 4 power cores, 6 efficiency cores. I'm not going to read through every single thing that this chip can do. The real thing and the real question I'm going to have when we get this thing in hand, because again, we're going to buy it today, that's an awful lot of power, but like, why do you need, or why do you have that much power? And that's one of the things about iPads that I'm sure we'll get into a philosophical discussion when we start talking and using the new iPads, but like, what would you say you do here? You're spending, and we're going to see how much money we're going to spend on this, but we're spending it to get this much power, this much graphical performance, this much everything for iPad OS. Now, iPad OS, and okay, I guess maybe we'll go on the tangent here. iPad OS and iPads made a lot more sense when you had phones, you had Intel-based MacBooks, and then you needed something to go between the devices. But now that we've got MacBooks running on Apple processors, I just don't see the purpose of using something so powerful for iPad OS. Workhorse apps, power apps, touch. I mean, yes, the only real thing that the iPad has over my MacBook Pro or my MacBook Air is the touchscreen, and that's not nothing. They're absolutely Designer, Illustrator. There are use cases for that, but it's not a general purpose device as much as it used to be. There's a new Apple Pencil. What is the 3rd generation now that we're on the Apple Pencil, or the Apple Pencil Pro? Apple Pencil Pro. There's too many puzz. That's not specifically for the iPad. Here's the new thing. Here's the big thing. I love the Magic Keyboard. I made whole videos about that keyboard when it came out in 2020. I love it. This one's supposed to be metal. It's supposed to be sleek, portable. It says it right there. I'm not making that up. Sleek, portable, with function keys and a bigger trackpad. And I am pretty excited to see how this works out. One thing for tablets, I really like tablet stands and tablet keyboards that are self-standing, like you don't need a kickstand in the back. If you were sitting down on a couch, you can use this from your lap, and I really like that. I really am excited to see how they can combine the iPad, the keyboard, the new updates to iPadOS, because I really think the benefit of the iPad is the modularity of it, right? You can go from a tablet, you can put it on this keyboard and get a laptop-like experience. There's all sorts of things, but it just doesn't go far enough, right? Like the Samsung S24 Ultra also is a very modular, very versatile piece of tech, but it goes like from phone to tablet to laptop to computer, but it has different operating systems that run at the same time. So it's a little more versatile than this. I don't know. I think they need to take it like a step farther. Like, it would be really cool if there was a way when you set it down into the keyboard, if you could turn it into like a Mac OS kind of a thing. I don't know that they clearly don't want to get rid of the MacBook, but I could see a use case of a device that works as a tablet, but then if I set it in a dock or I set it in this keyboard, that it becomes more of a computer. The ecosystem is too big now to support ancillary devices. Like, devices need to have primary purposes, and that's the reason you get it. And if you're not a designer, you're not using the touchscreen, what is the purpose of iPadOS? Mike's camera action, they continue to have microphones and cameras on it. Not a big shocker. Thunderbolt's still on here, designed to make a difference, blah, 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 blah. So we've talked about, so the base model price, as you can see here, is $999. You can see all the stats here. Okay, well, let's just order it. You can order it as of yesterday, and it will come on the 15th. So we're actually, this time, we're gonna go with the big model. So it's the cheapest of the big models. I like the silver color. We'll go 256 gigabytes of storage because that is well more than enough for me as a power user for these tablets. Most stuff's on the cloud anymore anyway, so why do you need so much on-device storage? I certainly don't. Standard glass, because you can only get the nano texture glass, the fancy matte glass, on 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte. You're not getting me today with that, Apple. I'm not gonna buy cellular. We'll keep it with Wi-Fi. No engraving. I said the cheapest. We're saying that about the tablet, but we're gonna add in this other stuff to say, like, how much would it cost to buy the whole package, right? Because I'm trying to make a point here that you'll see in just a second. So Apple Pencil Pro, no engraving. Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro. We'll do white because it just, look, the silver and the white combination looks so good. No Apple Care. This costs $1,777 for the 13-inch iPad, the base model, the cheapest big one, the Apple Pencil, and the keyboard. If you want to do like full laptop computer mode, you still need a mouse. So this is like $1,800+ for a tablet. That's what, like 3 or 4 times the amount that you could get an M1 MacBook Air. That's way more than an M1 Pro MacBook Pro 14, which is probably the most useful laptop ever made. That's almost $2,000 for a tablet. Like, that's a lot. You already heard me talk about this. I'm not going to dwell on this for too long, but like, why? That's the question we're going to have to answer when I get my hands on this. Like, why? Like, what's the purpose of this? Why spend $2,000 on a laptop-like experience for a tablet when you can get an actual laptop for far less money, and you don't have the same operating system limitations on the MacBook as you would on the iPad? Should you go out and also buy this version? I would wait. I don't see a big enough difference here in the pre-order window from this to an M2 iPad Pro or an M1 iPad Pro. I don't really see a big difference, and maybe this is blasphemy. I don't see a big difference between this M4 iPad Pro and the original, 2018 iPad Pro. They've all been pretty similar in that same range. It just depends on, or do you have the A series processors, or do you have the M series processor? Yes, it is more powerful, but in service to what? What about you, though? Did you pre-order this? Let me know. I'm curious. I'm not going to yell at you. I promise. I'm not going to yell at you if you pre-ordered the M4 iPad Pro. Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, I don't know, watch it again. Thanks for watching.